soon. Nurturing Neurodiversity through Connection and Collaboration. So me and Naomi are going to chat a little bit about why we decided to put this course together and what you can expect when you join. So Naomi's going to start off. Naomi, would you like to tell us what led us to, inspired us to create
absolutely. Well, I feel a bit conflicted about this because so many people tell me they've been on so many parenting courses and none of them were really helpful. And in fact, I often work with parents who'll tell me about the things that they were told to do on parenting courses. And I just think, I wish that people were having something that was more helpful. And then a lot of the time when Heidi and I would be doing our webinars, we've also been thinking, wow, there's more to talk about here. There's a lot more that we don't really have time to talk about in that hour. And it would be really nice if we could dive more deeply into some stuff. And as we've been thinking about what we do, we're thinking that there isn't very much really available about how to connect with your children, how to collaborate with your children. There's a lot of stuff there about how to count to 3 and get your children to do what you want, how to control your children. And we thought it might be really important to try and get something over which showed a different approach, really, because both Heidi and I have worked hard on our approach through necessity, which has been great. But I think it would be really useful. I thought that's why we thought it might be useful to people. What do you think, Heidi?
Oh, it's going to be more than useful. I just, I know that you work with families and I work with families that would come under like the neurodiverse banner, and listening to people tell their stories about sort of advice they've been given, and more than advice, like the parenting courses, like official lines from professionals that have been damaging really, and put more stress on families rather than relieving stress or finding helpful way forwards. I just think that quite often parents find themselves, or families find themselves, in this position where they're stretched between what they're being told they should be doing and actually those things being ineffective and detrimental to their children and consequently their family life,
and making everyone very unhappy. I think that's the
absolutely.
thing I often hear, that people are told to do things, like you must force them to do things. And I think particularly for children who maybe have a PDA profile and who don't comply very easily, you can end up with families in this really horribly negative spiral really quickly, because the child gets upset, the parents are told they've got to put their foot down, they've got to set boundaries, they've got to be firm, they've got to, and all of that makes everything worse. And so the advice that parents be given actually...
And quite often they can't see a way out of that either, because parents understand that their child has, we're going to look at behaviours, it has these behaviours whereby they're instantaneously saying no to things, where they find things increasingly, extremely anxiety inducing, and they can't then see how they can help their child when they're in those situations, and they're not being given helpful tools in which to help actually relieve that anxiety or to improve the situation. And as you say, we've both not only worked with people but have experienced this in our own family, so it's something that we have been through, and it's also, hopefully the things we're going to share are things that we have used that have brought a little bit of peace to our families.
Yeah, I feel like we've been immersed in it, Heidi, really, which is, I think, really valuable, because I have the experience of having worked with families before I have my own children. And I had such a different perspective on parenting and children. And I was one of those people. I ran parenting courses, which was telling parents how to set firm boundaries. And I even did things about trying to get children back into school when they weren't happy at school. I did all sorts of things which now I would look back and cringe at, because I was trained to do that. And it wasn't until I had my own children that they really challenged a lot of my beliefs about how children should be treated, but also how adults and children relate to each other. And I think there's been something really valuable about the immersion as well as working professionally like that. I think it gives us both an extra element to what we do.
Yeah, I was thinking I used to pre-children, I used to really enjoy watching Super Nanny. Now I can't even watch the clips of it because of the way that I feel about how children should be treated with respect and care. But that's, so I came from like a similar pre-children. That was what I thought it was going to be like, and then having children sort of intuitively changed my outlook, and I'm glad it did, because of the children that I have in my family. I think it would have been, I used the word detrimental before, but it would have been really detrimental to their mental health and emotional care if that had been something that I had decided to persevere with. There's going to be some discussion on our course about how we view children's behaviour.
Tell us what we're going to do, Heidi.
Yeah, so we are going to spend 6 sessions together, and we are going to look at different aspects that we feel can contribute to positively nurturing neurodiversity in your home through connection and collaboration. So those are really going to be vital points during the course. So we're going to begin by looking at neurodiversity and reframing neurodiversity, sort of setting the scene for how we value, I guess, and perceive what, those differences that each of us have. So we're going to start there. We are going to look at parents' well-being. So we talked, I know if you've listened to us before, you will have heard Naomi say this isn't a parenting course. We are going to include, it's about the whole family and parents' well-being, and where you fit in, talking to parents, where you fit in, and how you can take care of yourself and your own needs, and identifying what your needs actually are in the context of your family, for the benefit of your family. We're then going to take a little look at children's behaviour. Naomi is going to lead a session on that. Did you want to elaborate on that at all, Naomi?
Yeah, so I'm just going to talk a bit about how we often see children's behaviour, which is something that needs to be rewarded or punished, and how really when we do that we miss so much of what's going on, because we're seeing behaviour when that's just the outside bit, but behaviour is just the external manifestation of what's going on inside for that child and what's going on in the environment around them. And so I'm going to talk a bit about how we can understand behaviour in a different way, and how many of us have critical voices telling us that we've got to treat our children in particular ways, or what behaviour we should be expecting. And then I'm going to talk about a different approach, a collaborative approach to behaviour that we use in our family, and I know you use in your family too.
Yes, and I'm going to go on after that to talk about relationships in our family, and particularly about how we relate to each other, how parents and children relate to each other, which will be a really nice follow-on from how we view our children and how we view their behaviour. Again, moving from sort of confrontation with our children and moving into that connection, that zone of connection, and using collaborative skills sort of coming alongside our children. And then we are also going to look at children's well-being. Did you want to explain?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's motivating me for this is that I also work with autistic adults as a therapist, and one of the things which they say to me so often is that they just wish when they were little that people had said to them, "You're okay just as you are." And so I really wanted to do something with parents that would help parents to be with their children and to help their children feel that they're okay just as they are. And so that's really, the well-being is going to be talking about what we need to feel okay, and why people might not feel okay, and just a few different ways to understand distressed behavior and things that we can do if children are distressed, or that we're distressed as well, actually. And then
Fabulous.
we're going to move on to learning.
Then we're going to move on to learning, because I think we both recognise that education is a really big part of children's lives, has a really big impact on them. They spend a lot of time either accessing school or being educated at home. So we wanted to specifically look at learning in the context of our neurodiverse children, and how and what we might be able to change in order to make that a better experience for them.
And of course, Heidi was a teacher, so she
yes.
has experiences of learning in the classroom, outside the classroom. Yes, so she's got a lot to say about that.
Yes, that is my background. So I will be hosting that session. So yes, I've been doing that for about working in education now for about 20 years. So hopefully there will be lots of things that we can share with you there that will, well, just like we've said a lot, improve situations in your family for you. We're hoping that it'll be quite practical, so there'll be some tools and techniques that we will share with you.
We're not hoping it will be quite practical.
Oh no, it will be, sorry. It will be.
We know it will be. Yeah.
And different strategies that people can take away and try out, which is really key, because this isn't a program which you follow and then you get this desired result at the end. This will be about us giving you tools that you can use in your home and try out in your home, and then see what works for your family. Lots of flexibility, lots of giving things a go and seeing what the responses are, and being in tune with your unique different combination of children and adults that you have in your home.
And quite a lot of it, I think, is actually the bit that makes us quite different. Is a lot of it's going to be about challenging your own thinking. So I'll be reframing the way we're thinking about the situation, because so often when I first meet families, they come in and they say, how do I change my child? How do I make them do this? How do I make them do that? And the first thing we're going to be asking you to do is take a step back and think, what am I really trying to do here? What's the real aim? What's my long-term aim? Maybe I don't have to make them do these things. Maybe it could be quite different if actually I started to see things differently. So that's what we're hoping to do.
Fabulous. The practicalities are that it will be a 6-week program. We will meet weekly, and those sessions will all be recorded, so you can either watch them again, or if you're unable to attend in the evening at the set time, you can access those in your own time. There'll be a little bit of a chance for people to ask us questions, so we'll have some discussion around the topic for that week, and you'll also receive an accompanying booklet to help you focus on what we said, if that is helpful to you.
Great. I'm really excited about it, Heidi. Are you?
We are, yes. I am really excited about it. Yes, it's come together really nicely, and I know it's going to be really beneficial to people out there. So if you would like to book onto the course, you can find more information on Eventbrite. The course is called, what is the course called?
You Can't Tell Me What to Do. You
Can't Tell Me What to Do. And it is hosted on Eventbrite under Live, Play, Learn. So you can book there. I'll put a little link
in the comments.
We post it, wherever we post.
Brilliant.
It.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Heidi. Bye.